Let me do that. Good evening. Welcome to Winning Wednesday. I'm so delighted that you're here, and I'm so excited. I've already got up on the screen what we're doing tonight, but let me just pull back and say good evening and welcome. Welcome to Winning Wednesday. And this is the official. It's Win Without Perfection or Permission, the podcast. I have a dear friend, Danny Kelly. I was talking to her about some plans and some goals I have. And I said, I'm going to make this podcast. She said, it already is. And you just need to start calling it such. And so that's what we're doing. And I'm delighted. I have a great team member here with me tonight who's in the back end helping me do some things. And I have an amazing, wonderful guest who's here with us tonight. So we're going to get into it because my goal as we get into this fourth quarter, remember a couple of weeks ago, I said, hey, we're back. It's kind of the relaunch of what we've been doing. And the theme was push. Who remembers? Who remembers? If you do, you just got to say it loud. Push, push. And that's what we're doing. And so we're going to continue this whole quarter talking about push and all the things that God has given me. I'm not going to sit on it. I'm not going to talk myself out of it. I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to be right in here. And so tonight we're talking about push, that creative gene that each one of us has. And I have a delightful, amazing guest who's on. I was so honored that when I made the request, he immediately accepted. And so we're getting into it. I want to acknowledge that it's October and it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. It's Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I'm wearing my pinking earrings in honor of all the breast cancer survivors. I have dear friends, family members, want to acknowledge them and everybody who's in the fight. We're praying for you, with you, and keeping you lifted. So, and I'll be telling you about who's up next in a couple of weeks. So stay around for that announcement. But let's get into it. I don't want to delay things again. I want to share with you who we've got up here. And it's pretty cool that he is here with us tonight, Jovonta Patton. And he is a Minnesota native. So I'm from Minnesota too. So, we have some love for the soda and that he is, and he's been on this journey of creating and doing great things. He's a songwriter. He's an artist. He is a producer. He's an entrepreneur. He's a husband. He's a dad. He's a pastor too, and a pretty cool one. And he just does so many amazing things. So I am going to get him right in here. We're going to start this conversation. If you will help me welcome here to the stage, Mr. Jovonta Patton. Can we give it up for him?
Thank you for
having me. He's really here. He's really here.
I am honored to be here. Let me say that. Thank you for having me. You are, you and your family just coming from Minnesota and doing the things that you guys have done. And it is always inspiring. It just reminds me that it's possible, because sometimes being here, you'd be like, Lord, is it possible? So, so thank you for having me. Seriously, it means the world for me to be here.
You know what? I told you before we started, I said I'm fanning because that you would say that to me. We were in the airport. I think you were coming into Houston and I was leaving, and it was one of the terminals. And we hadn't physically met in person. And I saw you, I was like, and we got a nice picture. And so the honor is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. And that you would be willing to be here tonight and connect with people just means so much. So I didn't do justice in introducing you. I like for my guests to be able to do that. So if you'll just launch right in, I don't want to keep you all night. I know you have little people at home and
absolutely
your wife, and so want to do that. So tell us a little about yourself, the things that maybe we don't know, because we know gospel recording artists, some other things, but tell us the things about you that you want us to know, if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely. So I am Jovonta Patton. I am a singer. My favorite thing in the world to do, what I've always wanted to be. I never wanted to be a doctor, a lawyer, a firefighter. When they asked as a kid at 4 and 5, what do you want to be when you grow up? Singer was always it.
That was it, huh?
That was always it. I am the youngest of 5. I love my oldest brother is about 10 years older than me. My sisters are maybe about 8. And then my other brother is about 4.5 years older than me. So I am the youngest with a little bit of only child sometimes, just because they went on with their life a little sooner. But I
Okay.
kind of had like four parents outside of my mom, additional parents, because big cousins, siblings, my dad, my grandmother. Born and raised in Minnesota, North Side 612. I'm a proud North Side raised person.
Listen,
Um,
wait, just hold up. I've never heard nobody in Minnesota call out the 612. In Houston, they call out like they have 713 day
yeah,
for the area code, but I didn't know they was calling out the area code in Minnesota. That's cute.
612.
We
Yes.
used to call just the number 19. That's all we used to say back in my day,
Oh,
the
that's
number
it. So what does the
19.
19 stand for?
It's the bus route up our
Oh,
Penn and down Ocean High.
okay, the 19. I used to
The
love
number
the 5.
19, we didn't say anything about the 612, and now they
Okay.
have 651 and everything else. So you're
Yeah.
educating me. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's
You're
that's the
educating me.
St. Paul or 651. We 612, but we
I know.
love St. Paul sometimes.
I love it. So, born and raised in the soda. Sometimes my sister and I call it the soda. Born and raised there, and youngest. So, five kids. I didn't know that. I'm the oldest of five. So, you're the youngest of five.
Got
So,
it. So you the big
you're
sister.
like Ivy. Ivy's the youngest of the five too. So, yeah,
Got it. I can
yeah.
see the youngest similarities in her.
Okay, okay. So, keep telling us. You always wanted to sing, and then what?
Yeah,
What's
always wanted to sing. So my mom got saved at 26. My mom went through, I don't know how much you remember, but in like 1988, there was this huge house fire that happened in Minneapolis. It was like on 12th and Knox. And it
Mm,
was a duplex. And the family, there was a family upstairs and a family downstairs. The family downstairs died in entirety. It was kids, the parents, all of them died. And my mom was upstairs with my four siblings. I was not born at that time. And so everybody downstairs died. My mom threw my siblings out of the second story window and she jumped herself. And she said the kids, my siblings would normally sleep in another room, but for some reason my brother that's a little older than me kept saying I want to sleep in here. So she said everybody was in the same room and she got up and I felt the Holy Ghost a little bit right there. She got up because she said I started smelling smoke and she realized the house was on fire. And she said, I'm not about to die like this. And she threw her babies out. My brother probably had to be about 7 or 8, and everybody else was younger, 6 and like, 2, 3 years old. And so I wasn't born then, but then right after that, maybe 2 years later, it was in the month of October, 2 years later, she gave her life to God and she
mm,
got saved at a church on 30th and Lindale called Berean Missionary Baptist Church. So I never knew my mom to be a heathen, quote unquote, or unsaved. So I got
mhm,
the saved version of my mom my whole
mhm,
entire life. My
mhm.
siblings got, I remember when she used to go out, I'm like, I don't know that side of her.
Don't
So
know that
y'all not gonna
side.
tell me nothing different. My mom is a saint. That's all I know. I know nothing else. So growing up, my mom listened to the best gospel music there was, Shirley Caesar, Mississippi Mass. But my brothers, they had the best hip hop music that there was in their room. And then my sisters had the best R&B music. So I kind of got this huge melting pot being at home when it came to music. It was almost like I can go to one room and hear Vicky Winans, another room and hear Escape, then another room and hear the Rough Riders. It was just a thing. So, okay, okay,
And then you was shouting in
exactly.
one, hitting it in another.
Exactly. So I felt like it balanced me to this day that I don't really believe in all that. I do believe that some things we shouldn't listen to, but I believe it's your conviction, not what
Mm,
I tell you should do.
mhm, mhm. So all of this, what I hear you saying, really rooted in your mom made a commitment after that tragic fire. And Yolanda, who's on, said, "Oh my gosh, that's what." As I heard that, I don't know if we were still living there then or what, wherever I was living, but I don't recall it. Chandra's on. She said she remembers that happening, and so
Oh wow, yes. It was
yeah,
on
yeah.
it was in New York Times.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody picked it up. It was a huge story. The news stations, they interviewed me one time and they never put two and two together. That was my mom and they found the video from back then. That's how big of a situation. And all those people downstairs died. Most of the time you hear about the second story dying because they couldn't get out. But to hear the first floor died and the second floor survived, I knew
Mm.
there was a call, not just on my life, but on my family's life.
That's profound. That's big. So you always wanted to sing. You saw your mom just sold out to the Lord, just
Yes.
in all in completely. So that had to have been just a great model and an example. You were in church, being nurtured, and so talk to us about this. How did it all come together? You and singing, because what we hear on the radio now, that's not your first track. I mean, some people say, "Oh, he just showed up. Look at there, brand new artist." You've been at this for a minute, right?
For a long time, independently, I am a huge student of music business. So you know how like guys sit around and talk about like the analytical components of sports, like if coach gave him a little bit more time and they need to trade him to this. I'm that guy when it comes to music. Like I like to know how it works. I like to
Mm.
know how to make money from it, how you don't. And so utilizing that interest, it willed me in to be a successful independent artist because the things I went after wasn't so much I thought that they glittered. I just knew the business and my why I was doing it. And
Mhm.
so 2007, I was 17 and I started this youth choir called DFY. So the goal of the choir at the time was a lot of my friends and family, they were getting killed on the north side, and when I would go to the funerals, there was no representation of young people in that age bracket that believed in Jesus or that represented Christ in any capacity. And I just felt like that was doing a disservice because I don't think this represents me. I live over north. I go to school there. I know
Yeah.
them very well. So I created this choir, and our purpose was easy at the time, and that was empowering and saving youth. So it came together. Everybody was under 21, and we started singing around the community, and it just grew, it just grew. And so somebody promised us, like, I'm gonna pay for your CD, you should do a CD. They lied. All right, they lied. I prayed. I said, God, I was 18 or 19. I said, God, should I go on with this? Because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where the money's going to come from. I didn't see this as a youth program or a nonprofit come up. I literally just was asking God, should I do it? I did it. We recorded the CD, and Shiloh Temple had
Mhm.
just like really moved on Broadway at
Yeah,
that
I
time.
remember that. There was that building there. It used to be like Kodak
The Kodak building.
something. Yes.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And DFY had sang somewhere, and the check like months ago, and the check ended up coming that day. I asked God, and so we needed a $500 deposit for the church. And I said, God, send me a sign, let me know if I should do it. And the Holy Spirit said I should. Then got a call and said, hey, this check came in for $500, and I knew what it was for. You know, I feel like when you get money and you have a business, you know what it's for. And we literally went and we did the recording, and we had like 3,000 people pack into this church that only seats about 1,200. They were bringing out chairs. People were standing everywhere. It was pandemonium, and it was nothing the city had ever seen. So that shifted me into music. I moved from the choir world to a solo component because I was serious about music. And youth choirs, it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
People grow up, they go to college, they move away, they get pregnant, they get married. I mean, and the list goes on and on.
Why you go
Okay.
through the whole list thinking
It was
why you gotta go
traumatizing.
through the whole list, Javonte?
Yeah, it's like I just want to
And
sing
you
and
gotta
y'all
keep
getting pregnant.
recruiting, right? You gotta keep the door moving so you can keep a choir.
You know, I thought about that, but I just didn't feel like starting at ground one. I was writing the songs, and so I took the solo approach, kind of like the Ty Tribbett, Israel Houghton, Kurt
Yes,
Franklin thing. And
yes.
I did that so I could be able to move around, network, fly here. So I started dating my wife, and she was working at Delta Airline at the time. We were both 23 and 22, and she had free flight benefits. So I would go to every conference, every workshop there was around the country and learn, network. And that started to catapult me into the music industry. So I
Right.
learned the music side from that horrible incident of not being able, somebody promising, and then God just kept opening up doors to here I am
Mhm,
now.
So I'm listening, and what I often do when I'm on is I say to people, catch the nuggets. Like, listen, this is your story and journey. I want everybody who's on now live, and everybody who's here, you know what you can do? Please share this to your page.
Please.
Share it to your page so that those that are your tribe are getting some of the nuggets that you're gleaning from tonight. So please share, tag some people. That's how you can help me. I get nothing from it except I really want to encourage people across the board. So what are some nuggets you're getting? You can drop those in the chat. We'll put them up on the screen. But I'm hearing you say you were a student of this.
Yes.
This wasn't a game to you. This was for real. And even the decisions you made, I like what Kathy Mackey is saying in the chat. We may pop that up there. She's saying leveraging your resources.
Yes.
So the idea of you were doing that, thank you for popping that on the screen. You were taking advantage of what you had available to you. You were serious about this. You weren't hating on the youth choir. It's just, is this going to get me to where I need to be? And I think what I'm taking from this too is recognizing seasons of things. There was
knowing when to pivot, knowing when to move around, knowing when to get out. A lot of people, you have to be careful when people want to keep you where they saw God's glory on you.
This is Wednesday night Bible study. I tell the people all the time, if you missed your Wednesday night Bible study, not a problem. It's going to happen right here.
This is it.
You want to talk about it. Okay.
Yeah, so, you want to move on. I look at Michael Jackson and just think about if he would have just stayed with the Jackson 5, we would have missed Thriller. We would have missed Rock With You. We would have missed Remember the Time. And Jackson 5 was a good thing. And I think we think because something is good, it's a forever thing, or that's what God has now called them to do for decades. And it's like, if God can anoint me in this area, he could anoint me in the other area. And I had to move around. I mean, I love doing it, but I realized too, from my area, music wasn't a serious thing for a lot of them. It was a hobby. It was, I love you, so I'm gonna do it, or my parents think it's a good idea, which all those reasonings are valid, but I wanted to do this for real. So I was like, I mean, I love this, but we got to figure something out.
Right. I love it. And I hear you also saying, here's some nuggets I'm picking up. You can't wait for the people around you to kind of get to that revelation.
Yes.
You got to be settled on that for yourself and know when to pivot, when the season is, and to move on in order to get to where you're needing to go. So I love that. Chandra's saying being strategic. I agree wholeheartedly there. So you're in the industry, you are learning, and you've been on a lot of projects. I was researching, like, you've been in this deep and for a minute, and as a young man. So you're learning the industry, you're connecting, you're networking, and tell us about this project. How always, it's everywhere. I turn on the radio, I'm crying. Thank you, Jesus. Yes.
Amen. Always came from, so I wrote it at home, and this was the post-pandemic album, because I was not a fan of all of these doom and gloom prophecies, like it's never going to be the same again. We're going to wear masks forever and I get it, but it was just kind of like, is this a horror movie? Or have you went to the future and came back to tell us what it's going to be like? Because none of us have been there yet.
Right.
Can you just stop? And there was people getting sick. There was people dying. There was this question of provision. There was this question of trust. So instead of me praying for God to heal me now if I was sick, or to provide for me now if I need a provision, because we always say we need them right now, like we never needed them before. I needed them like I did yesterday. So, And so instead of doing that, it became a song of intercession. It was my prayer life in a song.
Yeah.
And it said, instead of you healing me today, can you just heal me always? Because I don't know what the future is going to be. And I don't know if this prophet is right, if this journalist is right, if this person on my timeline is right. So instead, the only person I know who is in the future is Jesus. So since he's already there, let me pray and say, Father, I trust you always. I need you always. Provide for me always, and heal me always. Because if you do it always, no matter what comes, I'm covered.
Woo!
That was
got us for Wednesday night. You got us for Sunday if we don't make it. You're taking us through the month. That's it. So post pandemic, and you're just like this. It's not going to be gloom and doom. You have children, and what's it going to look like for them, and what is Daddy projecting for them? And so this always,
so they got to grow up.
And do they grow up with that mindset and seeing daddy operate in that way, or something different? So, okay, so you wrote it, you got inspired. That's what was behind it. How do you just get to this place? Because it's everywhere. And you performed at the Stellar Awards. Am I correct there?
Yes, yes.
And then you're like, it's Grammy season. Talk to us about what happens there and how you could be in this race
Absolutely.
for this. Yeah.
So it's Grammy season and how we got here. So I'll start with Grammy season. So if you are a Grammy voting member, this is the time frame for you to vote. And these are for your considerations. And so I'm happy to make it to that part of it. And then we find out November 10th or 11th who, the final nominations go to. So we pray it's me in Jesus' name. The song Always. So what happened was I recorded it and we took it to radio. We took it to radio, and I had never did radio because God had given me so much favor with this tool called the internet. I bought my house off the internet, the car drive internet. The music and just make it be monetized. It blessed me so much that I just saw it was a lucrative situation. I'll just say that, right? And so I had never did radio. Facebook offered me a bonus. I was already being paid from YouTube and stuff, but Facebook offered me a bonus. They had offered multiple people this. It was for Reels on Facebook. They were trying to compete with TikTok and all that. So through those Reels, I have the sheet to prove it. It's miraculous to me. I made $85,000 in 2022 from making small 15 to 30-second videos on Facebook.
Okay, so I'm gonna just stop right there. Not to put a pin right here, okay, from people now and later. So you really can. So this tonight is about tapping into your creativity. I mean, were you always? Somebody might be saying, "Well, see, you're younger and you grew up in the whole online social media world, so you just knew. You came here knowing how to leverage it." But I wonder if you said, let me give it a try. I'm going to stretch myself and push and see. So when you're sharing, and I don't think you're boasting, I think you're just helping us to realize the opportunity, the resources, and 85 grand 1 year off of these reels that you
social
created.
Media. I felt like Doc Queen Duck in the little money thing. I couldn't believe it because I had got a check for $27,000 in March that year. That was my payout. The max you could make in a month was $35,000, and I had made it to $27,000. Then the next month was $18,000. Then the next one was $14,000. And you just sitting there, you would be okay with $1,000. Okay, so my first check was $973. We Black, so let's round it out to $1,000 from Facebook. I made $1,000 from Facebook. What a testimony! Like, y'all look.
Hercules.
Okay, exactly. Yes. Then the next month I made $4,000. So I was like, no, wait a minute now. This is going up. So that was January, February, and then March was the $27,000. I had never did radio promotions. It was just too expensive. Paying somebody $200 to $3,500 a month was just too expensive. And I just, having a wife and kids, they in private school, I just never want to tell my wife I was out singing and I have nothing to show for it. That's not me. So I said, if there was ever time to try it, let's try it. I did it. I went out on faith and I did it. I had a radio promoter. It didn't work out. I had to fire him right before Christmas. We went 6 months. The song was like number 88 on the charts. And it was only there because somebody in South Carolina believed in it and kept playing it over and over. That's really the truth, right? And so I had got this prophetic word from one of my spiritual mothers. Mina, she told me, she said, this is going to be the trip. And so when she said it was going to be the trip, I felt like I was discouraged because this man that took my money, this song isn't going anywhere. So it couldn't have been this trip. But little I know it was that trip because there was one man that he introduced me to from Radio 1 in Atlanta. We went and had dinner. And he said, this song is really good. We talked in October of last year, and I was crying like, "He ain't did nothing with my song." He said, "I don't really want to get into it because that's my friend." And I love my friends that have friends that I may like not be feeling. They don't get into it. I hear you. I hear them. Y'all gonna work it out.
Right.
He called me 2 days later and said, "Do you have time for a call?" I said, "Absolutely." He got me a call. Willie Moore Jr. started to like the song.
I've heard that Willie Mo Jr. show.
Yeah, he started to love the song, started wanting to play it all the time on his own. But then he introduced me to another radio promoter, and he said, "I think you should take this song." Now, ironically, I had talked to him, but I felt like I couldn't afford him.
Oh, okay.
He said, "Take what he can do on me. I'll do something for you later on in the back end, but I believe in this song." And what happened the last situation, it didn't get its due diligence. So literally the song went to #1 in August for 2 whole weeks consecutively, which is unheard of. And I had to wait another 6 months and then put more money into it. And I was asking God, do I give up on this song? I done paid this money. I done made money through the internet. I don't need radio. And the Holy Spirit said, "I'm trying to break you in a different way." And always has been a song that has gotten me into so many different rooms than just share this on your timeline or here's the YouTube link. I sang at Baton Rouge last night at a stadium
I
singing a
saw
song.
that. Yeah, I saw that. That was
And
beautiful.
I'm from Minnesota. In the whole stadium, as soon as I said, "Father, I trust you," they knew the song. And it didn't make me feel like a rock star. It just made me feel like I didn't have to prove myself spiritually.
Right,
So now
right,
we can
right.
just worship freely. So
Yeah.
always, that's how we got here.
Ooh, and so many things that you dropped on us in terms of how you got there. So you reached out, and maybe some of those deals didn't go right. They went left.
Super left.
Leveraging the reels. So we're going to pivot and be talking about this creativity piece here as well. I don't want anybody thinking he's a singer, he's a songwriter, that's music, that's a whole thing. I think there's creativity in each one of us, and so
Amen.
things that you're sharing can be applicable here. But you were willing to take a risk. You were willing to
Yes.
give it a try, still being grounded in here's my gift, here's my talent, here's where I'm passionate. So I'm wanting everybody to think, what are some nuggets you can take from here? What are the things that are burning in you that you're passionate about, always have been? And should you, just step out, explore some things. Had you not said, let me jump on these reels.
And I didn't want to do it. Let me tell you why I didn't want to do the reels. I felt like I didn't want people to confuse what I've been working so many years for as a singer with. And then I become this popular Instagrammer, Facebook, where all you see me is doing silly stuff on the internet. So I was very hesitant about it. But what God did, he did something very strategic. There's a thing called algorithms.
Yeah.
So I had a video that had 27 million views. It never hit Black timeline algorithms. It was these white people commenting on there. And I was like, who are these people? I don't, and so it was almost like God blessed me in a hidden place. Because with always, it came up in everybody I knew time. Like you said, I heard on the radio. It was almost like the people who knew me heard me for what they knew me for on a higher platform. People who didn't, like, I never seen it. If you would have never shared that, I never seen it. My following on my business music Facebook page went from 10K that year to over 80K.
Wow. In a hidden place. Did you all hear that? Blessed you, nurtured you, developed you, like just created this whole space, in a hidden space, in a hidden place. So this idea of nurturing the creative in you, be willing to reach out beyond spaces or places where you've been, give some things a try. That's what I hear. And I'm applying this to myself. Okay.
Amen.
So give it a try, reach out. Some things may go left, but that doesn't mean God has gone left on us, because he's got a plan. And then I heard you talk about the connections, meeting one person who could introduce you to one other person who was energized about that. The Willie Mo Jr. show, that he's on Kirk Franklin, and that'll come on. I'm like, who is this Willie Mo Jr.?
Exactly. All it took is one handshake. All it took is one moment. And God has truly blessed me. All it took was one situation. And so I'm a believer of, I don't always need 3 people to like it. Just give me favor with the person of power And that's all I need. Just give me
Woo!
that favor,
Ooh.
because that's it.
Okay, are you all listening? It doesn't take a whole everybody. And Mina's on here tonight. I love
Oh,
her. I
is she?
respect her. I honor her. Yes, and you talked about her as being your spiritual mom, and all it takes is one. So she gave you a word and something that
Yes.
encouraged you, and all it takes. So for all of us, all it takes is one something, and I think what you're hearing from Jovonta tonight. He's a young man, and he's been in this for a while, and he's not stopped. So whatever the thing is for you, don't stop. We can't stop. I remember hearing Joyce Meyer some years ago. She was saying that people would say, "Oh, what's the thing behind your success?" She said, "I'm not the smartest. I'm paraphrasing, not the whatever else, but I just won't stop. I'm not going to stop."
Oh,
So
good.
I see that in you. I hear that in you. You're just committed. You're focused, and that's really great.
Wow.
And you're going to share with us some great stuff that you have coming up before we end tonight. And I think because you've been consistent, persistent, unwilling to stop with what's in your heart and
Yeah.
what you know you're called to do. Some doors have opened that are going to be a blessing. So let's do this. I want to ask you about what's been your greatest joy in all of this and all of what you've experienced. What's been your greatest joy?
Now, this is going to sound like the most basic answer, but here I am being a dad. I still find it fun. My family, God has truly blessed seeing my daughters and how they love music. And people are like, you need a son. But for me, daughters are the best thing because they like music. So the same stuff I be watching, they be like, oh, she's snapping that. Or they be putting me on songs. They be like, we need to go see this movie. I be like, oh, this movie is good. So my wife and children are the best thing that could have happened to me. We model for Target. So like right now, if you go to Target in the costume section, there is me, I'm an octopus. My wife is a strawberry. My youngest daughter is a penguin. One is a poppet. One is a unicorn. And the other one is some other kind of horse. But to be able to work with them in modeling, me and my wife, we had a conversation. I was like, you think we had kids at the right time? Well, she asked me that, and I said, absolutely. I said, for Target to hire them and us,
Yeah.
we may would have missed it if we would have tried to do it now. And so it was just like everything has just been a blessing, and just those family memories going to photo shoots. And it's like
Yeah.
our family portraits is more in Target than they are like, you know, like I'm
I
playing
love
your
it.
dad
That's so
today.
cool. You have your hands, y'all have your hands in a lot of things. So even ministry, what drew you to decide to start to pastor? How did that happen?
Absolutely. So the Wave is this amazing place, and Minnesota, as it pertains to church, we don't really get new church plants often here. Like, in Houston, at least you got a Keon there. You have a Pastor Rudy there, you got a Keon there. There's so many different flavors, but that are
Right,
still a little bit on the newer side, right?
right.
And so I started this thing called Pop-Up Church. And what happened was I was just popping up at like barbershops
Hmm.
doing just like church and worship. That's all. It was
Mhm.
started in 2016. And so there was one Sunday we did it on a Sunday in the afternoon. And they came up to me after the service like, okay, we'll see you next Sunday. And so they had this impression that I started a church.
Okay.
That's what it was. I said, no,
Uh-huh.
this ain't this not. I said, we're gonna pop. So I asked everybody who sang, everybody who played, I said, can y'all do this next Sunday? So we end up going 6 months straight, every
Wow.
Sunday doing it. About 75 plus people packing into our party room in our apartment downtown. This was when the new apartments was coming up and it was fun for you to live in one. So we just packing everybody in there. So then we took a break, whatever that looks like. Pandemic happened. We would do a private group. Then it morphed into in 2021 every Sunday, and we've been there since. But the Wave is this. I didn't really want to do that either because I feel like ministry is my calling, not my career choice.
Mm.
So I don't really get a say in that career. I get a say. Like, God, I don't really
Mhm.
want to do that. But
Right.
in this, I didn't get a say, and I didn't want to be disobedient. So I feel like some of the opening that has happened with Always has been for me saying yes to my calling.
Mhm.
And that's just where the Wave came from. 1:45 is the time we do. People be like, why so late? But if you come, it's packed. We're getting like
Mhm.
200-300 people a week.
Yeah. Mm.
Our text line, like our membership line, is almost at like 700 on
Mm.
the roster. You
Mhm.
know, it's just I just be sitting there thinking like this has to be a joke or something. But every Sunday we come and
They keep
we get what
showing
we
up.
need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna again tie it back to this idea of creativity. I hear being open, being
Yes.
open to what is dropped in front of you. If there's an openness, and again, you're blessing people. People are being touched. They're drawn to something that's going on there,
Yes.
and it doesn't seem to me that you're trying to make it about you. You're making it about him, and that's what people are receiving. So being even open that day that the people say, "Oh, you're going to be back next week," and it's like, "Yes, we are."
Sure.
So what
Sure.
a blessing. That's
I
so
just looked at my
cool.
wife like, we're gonna be back next week. She's like, oh. Uh,
I love it. So let's talk some more. So you talked about your greatest joy, and I didn't think that was basic. I think that's amazing to say it is your daughters, it's your family. I think that's beautiful. I think that's
yeah.
wonderful, and it speaks a lot about you. And I heard you say, looking at your daughters, and they turn you on to music, and they love music. That creative thing is in them, and that's what I wanted to ask you about. So speak to parents, whether our children are young or older. Our daughter is 25. How do you nurture the creative gene in our kids? What do we do? How do we tap into that?
No, that's a good question. So Sunday, I talked about this scripture that David said. I was young and now I'm old, and I never seen the righteous forsaken nor a seed begging bread. And we scream about generational curses, but David was really screaming, I see a generational blessing that the Lord didn't forget about me as a young man, as an
Mm,
older man. And now I'm looking at my kids, and God is still providing for them. And I think we have to see what the blessing is in our bloodline and see what God has proven himself time and time again to be and what he's doing for our children, and then uphold that. Let your kids be who God has called them to be without your opinion
mm,
or you hindering it. You know, my mom let me be who I was. Nobody in my family sang. So she didn't have a sing it like this, or she just knew by discernment what to pray for and what to say no. But all the other stuff, she just supported it.
mhm,
Okay, I don't know what that means, but we gonna figure it out. Oh, you going to
mhm,
what concert? Well, when you leave, I'm praying for you. Learn how to pray and support, and then educate and research yourself on as much as you can so that you can kind of relate and connect to them, not become them, but
mhm.
just be like, okay, I read a little bit about that. Okay, now that makes sense. So just learning how to just push it, even if you don't understand it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And I don't think that's just with children. I think that's with
Spouses.
anybody, spouses, it's with our siblings, it's with good friends, may not understand it, get educated about it, and you can support that. That's really good. So you've talked to us about how to nurture creativity in our kids. How about the adults who are here who are saying, okay, my kids are grown and gone. I don't even think I have a creative bone in
Mhm.
me, streak in me. What
You know, gone are the days of age being the reason why you are successful or not successful. Look at people like Tabitha Brown, a household name, very good. I mean, you can say one thing, and it's you go on in Target, and she got nuts and bag of popcorns and bowls, and there is nothing that is withheld from you now because of age. And so feeling like you can't do it or you're not creative because my kids are okay, your kids ain't got nothing to do with you. You know, let them be them, and then you
right.
be you. Because we see, so I see Karen Clark Sheard for all the gospel fans. Karen Sheard preached at our church maybe about a month ago, right? Absolutely amazing, right? I mean, Kiera is just the standard, can sing. And as much as she is a part of that dynasty, we actually like to hear Kiera. Like, oh, Kiera, we can go for her. We don't care. But then
Mhm.
I'm looking at her mom on this reunion tour, and everywhere her mom is in her 60s, and every clip I see, I'm just like, age
Yeah.
is nothing but a number. I
Yeah.
think don't let age be a stronghold for you.
So whether it's age or it feels like not even age, but did I miss it? Like I know there are times just personally, it's like, oh, did I miss that opportunity or that wave or that season? And just even this idea of creativity, if there was an idea that you had, something was dropped in you, that was the seed. Do we just keep pushing it down, or no, it's too late, it's past, or like, let me resurrect that thing. Let me tap back into that. So I think that's some of it as well. Would you agree?
Definitely agree. And I feel like if you felt like you missed something, I look at it like the train system or the bus system. If you miss that train or bus, another one is coming. Don't miss the second one.
Be
Just
ready. Have your stuff packed and
that's
be.
it. Don't miss the second one. That's it.
I
Just
love it. I
we
love it.
cannot keep dwelling on what we missed. Just
Woo!
don't miss the second one. The 19 is coming again in 10 minutes. Okay.
Don't miss the second one, everybody. That's a tweetable. That's a postable. We're going to do that. That's good. Don't miss the second one.
Don't miss the
Here's
second
where I
one.
want to be wrapping up, because I have kept you over time and I so appreciate your diligence. Have there been some lessons? I want you to just talk about big lessons, any lessons that you've learned that you could pass along, and just any kind of closing, just encouragement for people that are here and who will listen later on. So lessons you've learned through all of this journey, and then any encouragement, and then you tell us about the big hot happenings that are coming up soon.
Yes. I would say one lesson I am learning and have learned over time is, as hard as this is about to sound for me to say, hey, let offenses go quickly. Just jump
Just say it
over it.
again. Say it
Just
again. Say it
let
again.
offenses go quickly. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, you can be human, talk about it, but talk to it with people that's not going to gas you up and make you hold on to it. Where it's like, okay, girl, I gave you 20 minutes. When you gonna let it go? Talk to some people that's gonna hold you accountable. Like, now, last time we went out to eat, we gave you the floor. Now we gonna have to change the subject. Where it makes you be accountable of how many times you keep rehashing it, and
Mhm.
just letting it go quickly, because at the end of the day, it's going learn from it. What, Lord, what's my lesson, and let it go.
Mhm. Mm. So that's a whole word. That's maybe a message you're gonna bring for the next Bible study you
Yeah,
have, or the wave on Sunday, because that, let them go quickly. Let those offenses go quickly. That's a great, powerful lesson for us. Any other encouragement you would give? Just any things that come to mind for the folks who are here around nurturing creativity for themselves, not being fearful, jumping out there, trying to get anything that you would leave with us.
absolutely. I would say stop talking and thinking yourself out of your own ideas, because a lot of us have good ideas, but when we have it, we become too analytical.
Mm.
Where, oh, well, I really couldn't do that because I got the kids. That wouldn't be the right time. Just, I mean, Nike it. I call it Nike it. Just do it. And then on the deeper side too, gird up in prayer. Like, pray and cover yourself and say, Lord, give me the holy boldness I need. Give me the tongue of the learned. Give me the tongue of the wise. Let me be able to speak the language of the person I meet when I see them. Show me what shirt to wear. Show me how my hair should be. Whatever they need to see to notice me, whatever I need to say that will make them remember me. Because I think we talk ourselves out of some of our greatest achievements because we think what you think is not always good, and then what you think is not always bad. So learning that bridge, asking God to give you discernment on making a decision where that line in the sand is for how you think. Because he said, I'll do exceedingly and abundantly above all you can ask or think. So what we think about, he's actually going to do it bigger than that.
Mm, mm, mm.
So how we seen it is actually the small version.
Oh my gosh. The little bitty micro version of it. Yeah,
Yes,
because
that's the
we can't
baby
even
version of
imagine.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so good. So we get into overthink. I call them the girls who live up here, or the guys who live up
Oh,
here
that's
between
good.
our ears, who can, sometimes I think they're there to protect us, but many times we can feed into the things that can hold us back. So being mindful of that. That's so good. Hey, let's do this as we wrap up. You got some big, exciting stuff that's happening in the soda real soon. Will you let us know? Because I'm like hyped about it. I may have to get on a plane and come in there and get with you all. What's up?
Listen, I told Magoo to come. So December 2nd and 3rd, I'm doing this Christmas record at Living Word. The Phil Cornish is coming from Los Angeles. He was a producer of Kanye West Sunday Service. Last Christmas, he played in Kim Kardashian house for 25 days straight, waking up her children. He does every art you can think about. So he's coming in town to produce it. Some of the Horn players from Renaissance is coming to play on the record. So we're gonna give you classic Christmas, and we're gonna give you a little churchy Christmas.
Look,
Then
church Christmas. Hang on, though. Time out. Living Word Church. For those who are not in the Soda, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Paul area, Living Word Church and World Outreach Ministries. That's our former church and a great ministry. Apostle Leslie and Rose Ford. They're the pastors there. Great ministry.
well, this is the Caucasian one in Brooklyn Park, Mac Hammond.
Okay, it's the other one. Okay, they're good too.
But we love
everybody. We love everybody. So okay, my bad. Living Word, the other one. So that's where we'll be, because that's a different venue. That's a whole different space. So
Maranatha
now that I think about it. So
yeah.
December 2nd and 3rd, that's a place to be. And this is going to be like a recording for a live project.
For Christmas. And we're going to record a Christmas project. And then that is free and open to the public. So
that's so
if
cool.
you just need something to do with your family for free on that Saturday or Sunday, this is the place to be. And then one of my favorite things that they call me. So this is still just wowing me, but I'm going to First Avenue. That's people travel to Minnesota to come to this place.
First Avenue, Prince's house. I like to call it.
And I'm sure in all your years of living in Minneapolis, you didn't go to too many gospel shows or at all a gospel show at First Ave. Exactly.
Never at First Ave. So this is like historic. It's
historic for us. And it's during Black History Month. So February 2nd, tickets are $15 in advance for a limited time. Then they move to $18. Then they're $25 the day of the show. So they go on sale this Friday at 11 a.m. Some people say that's super early. I just got a lot going on, so I don't want to be posting buy a ticket, and it's 2 weeks before. Like, no, just get your tickets. Don't be waiting. $15 is, I would say $15 is nothing, because the money I paid to go to concerts, I could pay for 3
If anybody was at Renaissance, you didn't even pay your parking for 15.
You see what I'm saying? And I think it's
15. I'm surprised. And then you say it's gonna go up to 18. Like, that's nothing.
Exactly.
You but your hair done for $15.
Exactly. But I fought. I wouldn't say I fought, but my team and we just negotiated with them, because one thing I didn't want to do is I didn't want to come from this free church opportunity where people consume me and love me and have always supported me, then to outprice my real audience right away. So it's an all ages so you can bring your kids and stuff. But I wanted to start at a price point that allowed everybody to still come. So that's where we get the 15 from.
I love that. Think about that too, ladies and gentlemen. That's a nugget for us. Know who your audience is, and always make space for them. Always be catering to them. That's who's rode with you from day one until now. Yes. So that's awesome. Jovonta, I can't do anything but say thank you. And everybody who's here tonight or who's watching, will you just give it up in the comments? So when he's able to go back and look at this, he'll see how you all were blessed by his words. Please, please, please let it be known in the chat, in the comments, what you took from tonight, how you're going to apply something that was heard. Don't just let it like this hit you, like really implement, execute on one thing. That's my big request of you. So put it in the chat so he's able to see it. Jovonta, I'll be in touch with you because I want to gift you something for you taking this time. So thank you. Thank you. Can we give it up for Jovonta Patton for being here tonight? I'm going to let you know. I'm going to let you go. Please tell your wife and children, thank you for letting them hang with us for a little bit tonight. Okay. I appreciate you. I'm going to be in touch, and I'll let you go now. Okay. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. And everybody, thank you for being here. Before we let go, again, thank you. Thank you for sharing for your page. Thank you for being here. Our conversation went a little longer because we've got this amazing artist here, and that he said yes and he was here. Mina, it's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. I am honored that you would be. You're very special to me. I want to let you know who's up next. I am working hard to create a podcast that provides real value to you. The whole goal, it started back in the pandemic. How can I bring people to you who are doing this, winning without perfection or permission every single day of their lives? We can look at people and go, oh my gosh, look what they're doing. They're blowing up. And they're regular people like us. And my job is to curate that and bring those here so that you can glean some things from them. In 2 weeks from tonight, I've got my favorite girlfriends on. I have a lot of amazing girlfriends, some who are on here tonight. And I'm going to show you who's coming in 2 weeks. We're kind of like do our annual hookup and get together. So one of them is my girlfriend, Dr. Pastor Gina Jerkins. She looking real fly right here in her black and white. She's going to be joining us, and you know how we do. I also have to bring in my girl, Pastor Terry Thiel. So we'll be doing our meetup, our connect, and this is going to be a lot of big fun. So it'll be Dr. Gina Jerkins, Pastor Terry Thiel. 2 weeks from today, we'll be having some great conversation, and it's going to be fun. And we're still talking about push. Push is an overall umbrella theme, is what we're really focusing on Q4. We want to push through. So those creative nuggets, those ideas, those things that have been rumbling around in your heart, in your head, this is not the time to keep pushing them aside. Take what we heard tonight, leap on it, act on it, go forward, because our goal is to win without perfection or permission. Thank you for being here again. I'll see you next time in 2 weeks for sure, okay? I love and appreciate you all. Good night. Rest well. Bye-bye.